Hi, everyone. Welcome to the monthly council meeting for the Kingston Food Co-op. It's so nice to have you all here with us in Zoom person or watching later. Just very humbled that you are taking the time to pay attention to what's happening in your co-op and having input in what we're working on and the direction that we're going. So thank you so much to each and every one of you. This meeting is welcome to members of good standing. Anyone is welcome to come and watch this video. It's a working council meeting, so we're going to be working through an agenda that we've published to our council members ahead of time. Any comments that anyone who's here now has, please just save them for the end. We will have an open forum so everyone can ask a question, make a comment, whatever at that time. So just save anything until the end there. This anything you raise in the open forum, we might not have the time to discuss at that time, but if it's something that needs a response, we'll make sure to get back to you as well on that. We also close out every meeting with an executive session, and during our executive sessions, we only use this private time to discuss items of sensitive nature that could directly harm the success of our co-op or would infringe on the rights of privacy of a staff member or one of your fellow member owners. So those are the precise things we use the executive session for, and we have one at the end of every meeting. So now let's get to the fun stuff. We're going to start off with some co-op updates. Siobhan, our outreach coordinator, is here. Would you like to talk to us about member numbers, etc.?
Sure. We currently have 1,193 members in our co-op. Yay. And we just reached 200 Solidarity members today. So that's really exciting. And that's about 16%. Almost 17%. I did the calculation a little while ago. But yeah, we're so close to 1,200, and we have doubled our solidarity in the last year, I think. So really, really excited to share that. And this month there are no member events or anything happening right now, like in-person gatherings. But we have been sending out this survey to collect feedback from all of our members and community members about our store design. So like gathering lots of important info before we head into our building design phase. So check your emails for that. It's also available on our website under the Get Involved section. And yeah, that's all I have for membership updates right now. Maybe next month, maybe next month we'll bring back the community walks if that feels safe or fun, or if that's something people want to do. That's something we started last February and that was pretty fun. But yeah, stay tuned for that. And that's all I have right now.
Thanks, Siobhan. Those were fun, the community walks. I hope we do bring them back. It's always fun to meet someone new. KVS, could you do a financial update for us?
Yeah, and I can lead it into the next segment also. But financial update, what we've got in the bank is about 75K outside of the reserves at GWI, our fiscal sponsor. So tangible right now in liquidity, we've got about 75K. Next, we're gearing up towards our budget proposal for Novo in March of this year. We submit it every March. So we're in the background gearing that up, and our balance is higher than expected right now because, as you may remember, we didn't hire a GM, but we are still on the GM search, and we are still playing around with different ways of compensating people for their participation in the different groups once we relaunch those to get work done at the co-op. And the next segment is welcoming the new council members as 2022 comes. Our first meeting of 2022 is super exciting because we're starting it off with extending the family. So thank you all for bringing your support and care for this project into the new year. And with that, we've got some new folks who we're rubbing elbows with. If you could just click a reaction that best represents how you're feeling when I call your name. So I'll start with the wonderful Ali. I'll do a reaction. Okay, perfect. And then Nina. Yay, and Kendall. Yay. So these three amazing individuals were invited to the co-op family, noting their amazing background in the field and contributions that they can bring to the co-op, and particular interest in creating a more equitable landscape here in the food system here. They were elected by the council, appointed by the council. So there are two different types of terms. The elected terms, which are 3 years, which everyone participates in the greater co-op community. And then there are the appointed terms, which we do as the council members to ensure we have that minimum required amount of folks who are contributing to the progression of the co-op, and that we keep a diverse panel here. Typically, the appointed terms happen May 31st all the way up until June of the following year. However, since they were appointed in January, they will finish out this term up until May 31st and have the option of jumping back in again. Yeah, so they will have the option of joining back in again. We thank them all for their amazing contributions that they've made thus far. And yeah, we can't wait to pump out new and exciting things from these wonderful masterminds here. And I will pass it back over to Lindsay.
I would just like to invite Ali and Nina and Kendall to say hello to everybody. If you feel moved to share maybe your experience or your hopes for this project or anything like that briefly, I think everyone would love to hear what you have to say. You want to go reverse alphabetical order? Okay, so I'm using my alphabet. Nina.
Hey folks, I'm Nina. I'm really excited to be more actively involved in the co-op. I come to the food co-op with a background in worker co-ops as well as in community work. And I'm really thrilled to just be thinking about how we can make this food co-op work for everyone and to really deeply integrate it into the surrounding community. And I think Kendall is next. Actually, I'm sure Kendall is next.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kendall. I was born and raised here in Kingston, lived in the same house my whole life. I graduated with a degree in sociology and since have been working for nonprofit corporations in their development and operations. So my background is a little bit more in community development. And I look forward to the co-op because I would love to see Kingston become a more sustainable and independent city and to be able to prevail past any possible trials or any changes that come up in the future, that we'll still be able to keep our solidarity and continue thriving. And Ali.
We can't hear you, Ali.
It doesn't say you're muted, but we can't hear anything.
You want, we'll circle back to you, okay? All right, we're gonna circle back to Ali. I will say that we had one committee meeting already, or two committee meetings already with this new group, and it's just so exciting, the energy that they've brought and the knowledge and skills. And so we are just so thrilled for this next year. And with that, we'll go to some of our committee updates. I'm not seeing our GM search committee chairs. Are you here and I just don't see you? Okay. They're not here. I'm not prepared to do an update on this. I did not think about that. Katie, you want to?
Yeah, I'm happy to do a quick little update.
Thanks.
Sure. So let's see. Our GM search committee has been meeting every 2 weeks since the beginning of December. So I think we've had 3 meetings so far. We have, I think there's 5 community members on the committee, and then me, I'm the project manager, and Lindsay, the council vice president. And the work that we've been doing so far has been kind of getting ourselves oriented and ready to do the general manager search process, which is going to be pretty in-depth. So if you've been in on a meeting before, you've probably heard us talk about the importance of the general manager position and the success of our co-op. The general manager is going to be the person who is kind of leading the charge on all things related to the grocery store. So staffing, purchasing, finances, all of the big pieces. So finding the right person for this job is incredibly important. So our GM search committee has been, we have a job description that's in draft form. We've gone through it a few different times and we've had it reviewed by a professional food co-op HR person from Columinate. And so now our next steps are to determine where to post the listing. The council needs to approve a salary and benefits range to be included in the posting, and then kind of create a rubric, interview questions, and flesh out the process for finding and then selecting our general manager. So we're expecting this process to take quite a while. We've been talking to our fellow cooperators, food co-op startup folks from across the country about their processes, and what we're hearing is that there's there's a lot of need, a lot of co-ops starting up looking for general managers, and not a ton of qualified candidates, or the qualified candidates that exist are already working as general managers. So a lot of the folks, for example, the folks at Dorchester Food Co-op in Dorchester, Massachusetts, right outside or on the outskirts of Boston, have been in this process for 8 months. And they have not found a suitable candidate yet, and they're doing a nationwide search. So that's just a little bit of context about kind of like the challenges that we're up against in terms of finding somebody who's going to really set our co-op up for success. But it's hopeful. I think we're going to be, I think we're going to find a great general manager. It just is going to take us some time. So we have to be ready for this to be an intensive process. We have on our search committee, we have several people. We have 2 people who have been in management positions in food co-ops and other health food stores. We have folks who have been on lots of hiring and search committees before. So I feel really good about the people who are working on this. And I think, we're ready for a thorough and maybe in-depth and maybe a little bit of a time-consuming process, but we're ready for it.
Thanks, Katie. That was a good rundown. We'll get our chairs here soon so that so the rest of the council can meet them. I'm not sure why they're not here, but they're great. And then Ali, is your mic working?
Hello.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Great. Yeah, so I'm Ali, and I'm happy to be part of a group that wants to think about things differently, in particular to food. My background is in anthropology, focused on immigration, public art, a lot of anthropology stuff, so big picture things, but it's mostly focused recently on co-ops and things of that nature. Direct experience with food cooperatives. I was a board member at the Bushwick Food Co-op for about 3 years, and it's my goal to bring that experience to the group and to support the creative process.
Thank you. And then on the note of our how we nominated and appointed this group is that we have our nominations committee that works through possible applicants, does interviews based on some guiding questions that we came up with as a council, and then candidates meet the full council and have conversations. And so that's sort of the process we're in. And so we also are still in that process. The nominations committee, Kivius and I just had another conversation with a potential council member today. And I dropped it in the Slack. So if you all saw it maybe, but you can click on the sort of like one sheet that we wrote up about our two conversations we've had with this candidate. She's going to come on Friday to meet everybody. And we gave her a little homework to do to prepare for that meeting as well. So so just calling everybody's attention to that. Then sort of the next project for the nominations committee will be helping to develop any potential candidates to run for the seat that will become available during the next round of voting, which will be in April at our general meeting. There'll be one seat available for an elected 3-year term. And so that will be sort of our next project, is to make sure we have some good candidates running in that, and give them any support they need to be stellar candidates. That's the nominations committee update. So I think next we move on to building project.
Okay, and Lindsay or someone, do you want to be, I'm trying to catch up on my notes in between, but it's hard to do. So if somebody else wants to take notes while I'm talking, that'd be great. All right, so capital project updates. Where we are at right now is that, as many of you know, we're in a bit of a waiting period on our contract with our the architect for our design project. And in the meantime, we are working hard to create basically to finish up the necessary pieces in order to make sure that when we're ready to design, we have everything that we need to in place. So particularly diving deeper into like a second phase of our business plan. We have a business plan and a pro forma, which is our financial projections that were created last year. And for this year, in the next few months, we're going to be focusing in on, maybe I kind of want somebody else to talk about that. Kivius, maybe you can talk about that after, but that's kind of all to say that, that we're basically in a process to see if we can bring in a design firm to like do some feasibility work with us while we're in the business planning stages. So let's see, I don't know what else to say about that. That potential design team is going to, we don't have a proposal from them yet, so there's not really much of a concrete update to share. But that's part of what we want to be working towards in the next couple of weeks and months. Are there other things to say about that?
I don't think so. I mean, we were hoping to be farther along in our contracting process, but we have a little bit more work to do before we can do that. So we'll keep everybody updated. Kivius, do you want to talk about the business planning?
Yeah, I'll pick up off of Katie. So we have an initial business plan and pro forma, which is very much centered around the success of, a traditional co-op. But what we aim to do here is really understand how to build relationships between, not only transactions between people in the grocery store, but relationships. So the question becomes, what sort of programs do we have to enact? What people can we partner with? How can we set up this entity in such a way that is moving in concert with all of the folks who are aiming to transform this food system? And with that, we have to tie in the cost of doing exactly that, which the first business plan was missing. So we're taking the time to really factor in all of those other elements of really building that relationship, so that we can have a business plan that truly reflects the the breadth of the mission that we aim to put out. So that ties in those social programming, that ties in partner organizations, ties in, you know, all of these things that are required to ensure equitability and that relationships are being built and not only transactions through funds and grocery stores. So that is why we're on the phase 2 of the business plan. We have some really great information to go off of, but we also have a lot more information to gather. So, you know, mainly on just the Kingston community itself. You know, what are they feeling? What are they not feeling? What direction are they moving in? And how can we ingrain their thoughts, collective thoughts and feelings into this grocery store? And I think that segues into the next topic, which is the community integration committee. So the community integration committee, there isn't completely much an update. They're the committee who's to a main degree tasked with understanding how to build a relationship between the Kingston Food Co-op and the greater community. But one thing that was on the docket that we sort of like left in the last meeting, and we'll circle back to this later, was whether or not we would like the community integration committee to be focused on strictly the greater Kingston community, or if we would like them to be focus on members also. So whether that committee creates relationships with the grocery store and members, so like loyalty and everything will be tied under that committee, or whether that should be separate from engaging in the wider Kingston audience. We will go back, we will review this again when we get to the charter approval, but where we left off was keeping everything under one big umbrella of community integration. And we can talk that through more with the folks who were part of that meeting also when we get to approving the charters. And with that said,
I just want to jump in and say one key thing of the community integration, the work that Kivas has been talking about is gathering that community information, and the survey that we've been promoting is our first step in gathering that information. So if you haven't filled it out, please do, because it's only going to be up for until the end of this month, I think, right? Is that the new date, Siobhan? So
yeah, Monday the 31st.
You want to tell people where to go to fill out that survey, because that's our first step of this gathering of all this information that we need.
Yeah, sure. So okay, let me just, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. It's on our website under Get Involved. So the website kingstonfoodcoop.com. And if you just hover over Get Involved, you'll see share your best co-op design ideas, and that'll take you right to the English survey. And the survey is also in Spanish as well. It actually doesn't live on our website though, so I need to put that on there, but it is on our Facebook and our Instagram. Like there's links to the English and Spanish surveys, but the English one is on our website under Get Involved.
Thank you. Thanks for that. So that concludes our updates.
Just so quickly, just for anybody who's in the Zoom right now, the link is in the chat if that's useful to you. And we'll also send it out after this.
So now we'll move into sort of like our new business portion of the meeting. And in June of each year, we read all of our conflicts. Every council member will disclose every conflict that could come up into the record so that everyone knows about it. Kivius and I did ours on June, but I mean, we could do them again just for solidarity's sake, maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
You want to go first?
No.
Okay, well, I'll go first. So my conflicts are that I always, we say everything that could possibly be a conflict. So I'm an acupuncturist and an herbalist, and I always bring that up as a conflict because perhaps at some point we will be sourcing something that has to do with health, and maybe I'll try and like put myself in there to get a big payout, so that, and then also my husband is a furniture maker. So, maybe I'm going to try and get him a job building all of the shelves for the grocery store. So those are my main conflicts, is that I have, I'm in the nutritional field, and I have a husband in the construction field.
All right. My conflict of interest is interesting one. I run another startup in Kingston, which is centered around new economics. So a lot of the work that we do here may overlap with that. So there may be times where you see the Thrive On team coming in to do something in partnership with the Kingston Food Co-op team. However, they're both nonprofits, though it could show as like a boost on one agenda. So that could be a potential conflict of interest. And I have friendships with a lot of people who give resources to the co-op, but also, yeah, so I think that's also maybe a conflict of interest too.
Okay, let's go in alphabetical order this time, since last time we went in reverse alphabetical order. So Ali, you are first.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the document that I sent in, but I think it was, I have a communications agency focused on English and Spanish consultancy work and interpretation, translation jobs for companies. And yeah, I believe that to be my main one.
Thank you. Kendall?
So mine are similar to Kevius's, that I work for 2 nonprofit organizations here in Kingston. So a lot of the partners that we have on the co-op are partners that I've worked with before and will in the future with other organizations. So I do have sort of business relationships with those other organizations in Kingston that we also work with, and might overlap and show up here also with Thrive On, doing other work, but that's connected to the co-op.
Kendall, can you say the names of the nonprofits that you work for?
Yes, so I work for Thrive On Network with Kevius. So we're friends and business partners. And I also work for Seasoned Gives, which is another nonprofit organization related to seasoned delicious foods.
Thank you.
Yep.
Nina?
Cool. So these aren't in, I actually didn't formally disclose this yet because I think I hadn't been interpreting this as broadly as I could have been, but I'll update that formally later. So a couple things. Firstly, I work in the worker co-op field, and I'm actually will be changing jobs soon. So interviewing, talking to people who are also in the co-op world. So there may be overlap in that space. I'm also helping with launching a community center in Olive Bridge, which is about 30 minutes from Kingston. That's called the Crumville Schoolhouse. Maybe there will be opportunities to partner and work together with the food co-op in the future. So that may pose a potential conflict of interest as well. And then also one of my close friends runs a local, like a small business called Little Broad Studio, and makes herbal teas and tinctures from herbs that she grows herself. And potentially there is a world where she would like to sell those products at the Kingston Food Co-op. So we'll name that as well. I think those are the main things that are coming up.
Thank you. On behalf of our core value of transparency, I appreciate everyone's transparency. We're going to move into approving our charters that we worked on in our last committee meeting. You can see them linked in the agenda, or maybe you already have them open. So some of them were worked on since last we spoke. Let's see, where are we going down to? The first one is Building Development and Capital Project Oversight Committee.
Lindsay, can I put this document into the chat?
I don't see why not. But it's also like, it can be linked through the agenda. I mean, it's linked in the agenda as well.
But I mean for members to see.
Sure. There won't be, like, if someone clicks through the link, they wouldn't be able to edit, right? Just view. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay. So everyone has already seen this, council members. Do we feel good about it?
Can we just, if we're gonna approve, if the council's gonna approve them, can we do them one at a time and just make sure?
Yeah, we are. We're talking about Building Development and Capital Project Oversight Committee. If no one has any comments for discussion, I will propose that we move forward with this charter.
Really quick, but just a follow-up from our Friday conversation. I have a question out to Sarah Haga, our owner's rep, about limit, what financial approval for change orders and that kind of thing. We were going to potentially add that into this charter, but it could be something that we hold off on until later if it's, I don't know if that detail needs to be in the charter itself, but.
Okay, so maybe we're not ready to approve this one yet. Let's move on to the next one. The Community Integration Committee charter. This one has changed since Friday because PVS, Kendall, Ollie, and Nina worked on it a bit more to bring it in line with what we were talking about. Any comments on the changes that they made?
Yeah, it changed, but also that there's going to be further changes or further clarifications on a few items. So I also don't believe this committee can be up to be set.
Can we do something where we say this is like the working charter until the first meeting of the committee, and then they can solidify? But because we had talked about how the committee's first meeting or two could be really solidify the work that they're going to do, but we have to have a charter in order to have that meeting happen, right? So can we do like a provisional chartering to get the committee in the room and have the scope of what they're working on, and then their first order of business is to really solidify their charter, and then we can do the final approval?
I think that's a solid next step. What do you all think?
Makes sense to me. Yeah. I think especially just fleshing out the deliverables more as part of that first meeting.
Okay, so maybe let's okay, so then I would propose that we do that we accept this as a provisional charter pending a final charter proposal from the newly formed committee after their first or second meeting. Kevius, thoughts?
I'm gonna say aye to that. Isn't that how we vote? Aye.
I mean, we don't usually vote, but there's like, if no one's bringing up any problems and everyone feels good about moving forward, then we're done. Okay. The Business Development Committee is the final. Oh no, sorry, there's one after this. Business Development Committee.
So that one's not ready either. We have to revisit it. We dove into community integration, but we'll put that on the docket for this week.
Okay, so what's the plan on revisiting this charter?
I'll throw out an email to folks about availability for the week, and then we'll do the same as the community integration. Either create something provisional or something that's fully fleshed out.
Okay, is there a deadline on that?
Next Friday.
Okay, cool.
Our next meeting.
Very nice. Okay, the last one for the night is the Strategic Planning Committee. And that is once again, that's the committee that's just all of us making sure that we actually do our strategic planning. So we feel good about it as is. No one has any comments or concerns. Okay. Kedius? Very, very high standards with this one.
No, actually, yeah, it's perfect. Yes, great.
Okay. Cool. Right. All the exciting stuff. Okay, so we have approved or provisionally approved or sent back for revision all the charters that were on the docket. Is there any new business that any counselor would like to bring to the rest of the council's attention? Okay, then I will propose that we move to our, I think, let me just get my agenda back up here, that we move to the open forum and invite any of our members that are here in the Zoom room with us to, if anyone has a comment, concern, or a question that they would like to make. Now is your moment. You may turn on your camera and mic and speak to our large viewing audience of 7. I don't know how many people watch on YouTube. It's okay if we don't have any questions or concerns. As always, you can always reach anyone on the council by emailing council@kingstonfoodcoop.com at any time with your questions, concerns, or comments, and we will respond to you and dialogue with you that way as well. So please feel free to reach out, council@kingstonfoodcoop.com. And with that, we will adjourn to our executive session. So thank you so much, everyone, for taking time to be with us tonight.